All righty, okay. So the next we're gonna do, we have the secretary's report from our December meeting. So we missed January because we did our planning, so everybody, it was emailed to you. I don't know, there may have been a few copies there if anybody need to look, but I need a motion to approve the secretary's minutes if we don't have any questions.
So moved.
Second.
All right. All righty, do we have a treasurer's report? No?
Ross is busy.
Oh, he had a busy night tonight.
Our balance right now is $1,416.99. I've made an additional $20 deposit, that'll show up on the next month's report.
Okay.
So right now, we got $1,416.99.
Very good. Pat? Do we have any reports for the PAC fund? There he is.
Yes, we have $1,147.35 in the PAC fund, and there were no deposits since we didn't have a regular meeting this last time.
All right. Well, we're gonna look on growing that PAC fund because what we want to do is be able to support our candidates. So that's gonna be an important mission of ours as we move forward in this year. I can sure can follow on this too. So I am so excited. This is my first meeting, so I it's an honor actually. And I started when I ran for office last year. I started my first speech here in this club, and I fell in love with everyone here, and it just has. I've been able to live out my dream. Even though I didn't win, I still am going to be active. So I really appreciate when I get to contribute here. I think we're gonna grow. Our goal is to build the recruitment and get our, we have a fabulous example. We have the president of the South Dayton Dems here and candidate, but we'll get to introductions later. South Dayton Dems has a great club. They're a good example for us to grow from and learn. So we have a lot of things that we want to do. If you haven't paid your club dues, it's $15 for an individual, $20 for a couple, and Ralph's over there taking money. Let's see here. We really don't have any committee reports because we didn't meet last month, so we're gonna skip that. And then raffle, we have this club raffle. Now our raffle money goes to the PAC fund, correct? So each month we've had people donate things to be given away. And so Dawn, you want to talk about what you're giving away for the raffle?
Okay, so for those of you who like to imbibe, there's some JW's private cellar raspberry peach sangria. And then, oops, and it's still not a broken bottle. And then there's a John Glenn memoir. I personally saw it autographed, and that's a pretty cool thing to spend $5 and have a chance to have John Glenn's autograph.
All right.
$5, I've got $55 already. That would mean 11 people have made contributions. I'm not sure, but I think there's more than 11 people in the room. So I would gladly take $5 from anybody else until Lynn says I can't take it anymore. If you can be subtle and sneak over.
We're not going to turn money away. That's all. I think it's been successful. It's been kind of fun to change that up. So, all right, we're going to get on to new business, and I am going fast because I really want to get to the candidates because that's really the meat of our meeting this week. So, and let's see, we need a website. We need a website for our club. So what I wanted to propose and see if we can have a motion for me to go and talk to some people about web design and get a.
I move that the club allow the president to investigate the possibilities of a website, and I'm going to stop there unless you want me to give you more latitude.
Act Blue as well. So what? Act Blue, we need an Act Blue account.
Okay, for a website and an Act Blue account. Barb, did that make sense?
Yes,
Okay.
I wrote it down.
So we have the motion. Do we have anybody second the motion? Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody say no? All right. All right, I'll start the investigation, start gathering some data and get some information for you guys, and we'll make a decision as a group. Okay? Again, I want to talk about recruitment. We're really going to be hitting our Facebook, and once we get our website out, but I'm going to look for the party to help me get all the names of the Democrats, registered Democrats in our area, get their names, and then what I would like to do is send an introduction letter and just say, hey, we have the club, we'd love for you to join us. And so I'm going to try doing it that way. I'll send the letter out and get that done in the next month, but it also is going to be word of mouth. So, you know, if we beef up our electronic presence and then just word of mouth and getting out there and the excitement, enthusiasm, we can make this club grow. So, and we have a lot of important work to do. We have great candidates. There's important initiatives on the ballot, and speaking about some things on the ballot. Oh, go ahead.
One suggestion that I would have for you that South Dayton was very successful with was we just had business cards printed, like old-fashioned business cards, and then at our meetings, members could take a little stack of them, and then they could pass them out to people as they went around.
Okay.
But that's why you need the website, because it has to have a place where they go with
Yeah.
the business card, but
Yeah.
just an idea.
So that'll be part of the plan.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a great suggestion. So if anybody has any suggestions on what you think would work for us, please feel free. We are open to everything. So just send me an email and then we'll bring it up at the club. But I'm excited. I think we can really do this, you guys. And this election is really important for so many reasons. Listen, I thought my election was important, but that was a little bit biased.
It was. Trust me, I've spent way too much time.
You have been a champion to try to right or wrong, but no, it is.
Just because it costs money, I make a motion that you have the latitude to obtain business cards for us for the next meeting.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. So moved.
So second,
Okay.
discussion?
Anybody have any concern?
I could print those pretty cheap.
Okay. We have a connection in the room. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. It stands. And I am getting used to the formality of meetings, so if I mess up, will you correct me?
I'll be your pretend person.
Okay, that's awesome. All right, plan for picnic. We are planning a picnic in July. We want to do it on a Saturday. I found out that the Dems, that the main picnic's going to be in August, and then South Dayton Dems is in June. So that's perfect. So we'll go support South Dayton Dems, and then we'll have our picnic, and then we'll support the main party. So we'll have a summer full of picnics, okay? We'll get the date out as soon as we have, because we want to get the location before we tell people the date. So, all right. Next, I really wanted to get to our guest speakers quickly. Now, before we get to the guest speakers, we do have a couple people that are candidates that, David, you are on the ballot. So we will be doing where we have that group, you know, come and talk and everything like that. But David Esrati is on the ballot for Mike Turner's spot. Anybody else that I'm missing that's on the ballot? We have another elected official here.
How are you?
Good. So, all right, let's move on. All right, so let me get to our first candidate. Picture of for District 36.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so thrilled to be here with all of you. Like Lynn said, my name is Rose Lounsbury, and I am running again for state rep in House District 36. 36 includes Kettering, Oakwood, Riverside, East Dayton, and downtown Dayton. And I know that many of you may not live in those areas, but you probably know people who do. And I'm hopeful that you can help me spread the word to some of those friends and family members who might live there. I'm running again because the issues that motivated me to run in 2024 are still here. In fact, many of them are only getting worse. And I remain committed to creating a state that our young people are going to want to live in. I am a former public school teacher. I taught middle school language arts at Northmont Schools, where Don Bojic was my union president, which was how I got to know her many, many years ago. I also taught at West Carrollton Schools. I am the daughter of 2 retired public school teachers, and I am the mom of 3 kids in public school. I have 16-year-old triplets who are sophomores at Oakwood High School. So yes, that is probably the thing people tend to remember the most about me, is I am the triplet mom. But because of all of my deep history in public education, protecting our public schools is absolutely my top priority when I get to the State House. And the biggest threat that I see for our public schools right now is the Universal Ed Choice Voucher Program. And I'll tell you a little bit about that if you don't know much about it. So prior to 2023, in order to qualify for an Ed Choice voucher in Ohio, you had to meet one of 2 criteria. 1, you had to be a low-income family, or 2, you had to live within the confines of a public school district considered failing on the Ohio State Report Card. But in 2023, the legislature blew the doors off the program and they created a universal voucher program, meaning they eliminated the income requirements and the geography requirements. So now anyone, anywhere, any income level was eligible for a voucher. And as a result of that, voucher use in Ohio exploded. To give you an example, in Oakwood, where I live, since 2023, voucher use has increased 1,500%.
Oh my God.
And that is not because families are pulling their kids out of Oakwood public schools to put them in private school. It's because all the families who already put their kids in private school, who could already afford that tuition, were now eligible for a voucher, meaning they're getting a coupon or a discount off the tuition they could already afford. And that is not just happening in Oakwood, it's happening across the entire state of Ohio. The Dayton Daily News published a story the other day that showed that 90% of Ed Choice voucher recipients are not low-income families. So people often want to say, well, vouchers are a social program. But I would ask you to show me another social program where 90% of the recipients are not low-income. Can you imagine if this was food stamps? We would be outraged. And it's kind of interesting to me because Republicans have often liked to talk a lot about welfare queens, but they seem to have no problem with voucher queens. Because that's exactly what vouchers are. They are welfare for the wealthy. And sometimes people tell me, well, this doesn't affect me because I don't have kids in school. But it actually affects all of us because of the way that vouchers are funded. Voucher money comes from the same line item in the state budget as public school money. So $1 more for vouchers is $1 less for public schools. And what happens to all of you when your local public school gets less money from the state?
Levies.
They come to you, right, with another property tax levy request to make up the difference. Ohio actually has more school levies than any other state in the nation. And it's because the legislature, the Republicans, keep cutting funding to our public schools. So I want you to know that my top priority as your next state rep is to eliminate the Universal Ed Choice Voucher Program and fully fund the Fair School Funding Plan because our communities deserve that. And the second pillar that grounds my campaign beyond public education is voting rights. During the pandemic, I joined the League of Women Voters. Are there any League of Women Voters members here? There are a few. Wonderful, wonderful. And that was sort of my gateway into politics. And that's because I believe that voting rights are the bedrock of our democracy. And in Ohio, we have voted 2 times to pass constitutional amendments to end gerrymandering. But we're still voting under unconstitutional maps, and that's because Republicans have simply ignored us, and they've recently done it again. The worst loss for me in 2024 was issue 1. I lost my campaign in 2024, but issue 1, the creation of the Citizen Redistricting Commission, losing that to me was the worst because I knew that's how they're going to maintain power and control in this state. And then you saw in October when they redid the congressional district maps, they drew a map that favors 2 additional Republican seats. And let's think about how that affects all of us. In Congress, we have 15 representatives from Ohio. 10 of them are Republicans, 5 are Democrats. In a state that voted in 2024, 55% for Donald Trump and 45% for Kamala Harris. So it's already not proportional. 45% of the people, almost half in Ohio, like the Democratic ticket. So we're already 10 to 15. The map that they drew is going to put us likely into a 12 to 3. And I want to just be clear, I don't mind a fair fight. I've never minded a fair fight, but I do mind when somebody is always stacking the deck and changing the rules so that they always win. So I want you to know I'm fighting for a fair fight in Ohio because I believe in voting, because I believe in our democracy. And the last pillar that is important to my campaign is affordability. My great-grandfather immigrated to Southeast Ohio in the early 1900s to work in the coal mines there because he believed that Ohio was a place where hardworking people like him could afford a nice life. And I still believe that. I believe that if you're working hard, you should be able to afford housing and food, and God forbid if someone gets cancer, not go bankrupt. And so the question really is, why is life unaffordable for so many people in Ohio? And to answer that question, I have a very handy chart with me that Lynn is going to hold up for me. Some of you might have seen this before. So this chart was something that I created in 2024 for my campaign, and it was the result of a late night Google where I asked myself, how long have Republicans been in charge in Ohio? So I Googled that and I found this image, and it was so striking that I had it blown up into a big chart. I took it all around with me in 2024. I had to have another one made for this election because I had to add a couple columns here, 2025 and 2026. So what this shows you is an image of political control in Ohio for the last 35 years, from 1992 to this year, 2026. For 28 of the last 35 years, Republicans have held a legislative trifecta. That means, yes, please take a picture of it and show your friends. That means that they have held the governorship, the Senate, and the House. And what, pray tell, have they done with the immense power that they have amassed over the past 3 decades?
Screwed us over.
Screwed us over. And you know how they've done it? You know how they've done it? Is they've cut taxes for large corporations and the very wealthy, which means they have cut funding to our parks, our schools, our libraries, and our local governments. And what happens to all of us? I know we have some mayors in here. When parks, schools, libraries, and local governments get less funding from the state, they go on the ballot. They come to us with another property tax levy asking to make up the difference. In Ohio, we are paying the 8th highest property taxes in the nation. And you know what? I actually don't mind that. I don't have a problem with that if I'm getting what I pay for. I'm fine paying the 8th highest property taxes in the nation if I'm living in the state with the 8th best public education system. But we rank 30th. Ohio actually used to be 5th in public education in the nation in the year 2010. Just for fun, let's look at the chart. Let's see what was happening in Ohio in 2010. My goodness gracious, would you look at that? That was the 4th year of a Democratic governor and the 2nd year of a Democratic House. So what it shows you is that when Democrats have a voice in Columbus, good things can happen. I'm also fine paying the 8th highest property taxes if we've got the 8th best healthcare system. We rank 34th. And when it comes to infant and maternal mortality, we're 43rd. Now, I had a high-risk pregnancy. He's very into it back there. Yes, you should be mad about it too. I'm mad. But I had a high-risk pregnancy. So I gave birth to 3 premature infants at the same time at Miami Valley Hospital. When Ohio ranks 43rd in infant and maternal mortality, that means too many women like me and too many kids like my kids never made it home from the hospital. It's unacceptable. I'm also fine paying the 8th highest property taxes if we have the 8th best economy. But we rank 39th. And so what this shows you is that in Ohio, we are paying more and we are getting less every single year. And it's because Republicans, like my opponent, don't really care about our schools or our health or our economy. They care about staying in power. This is what they care about maintaining. And so what are we going to do? Well, we're going to vote them out. That's what we're going to do. And we have an excellent opportunity to do that right here in District 36 this year. You can put that down.
Okay.
She's doing a very good job.
Way to go, Vanna White.
So I am running in the top most competitive flip seat in the entire Ohio House. Out of 99 races happening this year, this is the top most competitive one. And Democrats can win in this district. Sherrod Brown won the district in 2024 by 8 points. Kamala Harris won it by 1 point. My favorite statistic, in 2020, Joe Biden won the district as it's drawn today by 1 literal vote, which I'll just say was mine. I'll say I pushed Joe. I'll vote up to the top. So we can do this. but I cannot do it by myself. So I am here tonight asking you for whatever support in any way that you can provide to me. I do have a clipboard that I'll pass around. If you would like to get on my email list or like to volunteer for me in some way, please, as neatly as possible, and I brought a pencil so that you can erase if it gets messy. Put your name, your email, your phone number, and let me know if you want to be on the email list. That's a great way to keep in touch with my campaign if you'd like. How many of you have friends or family that live in Kettering? A lot of you do. Kettering is the biggest part of this district. It's the nut I have to crack to win. If I win Kettering, I win. So if you would reach out to your friends, your family in Kettering and say, hey, I met this great candidate, Rose Lounsbury, you should vote for her in November. How many of you know how to both take a picture with your phone and post on social media like Facebook? You can do both those things. Ooh, I have a lot of hands. I would love for you to get a picture with me before you leave tonight, post it on Facebook or wherever you post and say, hey, I met this great candidate, Rose Lounsbury. If you live in Kettering or Oakwood or Riverside or East Dayton or downtown, but Kettering's the biggest one, you should vote for her. That kind of social capital means a lot to me. And also if you want to and you can donate, I appreciate that as well, but that's not expected and I know not everybody can. So I just want to close out tonight by taking a minute to kind of acknowledge where we are in this moment as people in America. It's pretty scary out there. I know a lot of us feel afraid. We look at the news and we don't even recognize the country that we're seeing. And a lot of us feel afraid for the future and for our kids and for our grandkids. And I feel the same way. So I wanted to share with you what I do when I start to feel really down or really overwhelmed by the situation in which we find ourselves. And one thing I do is I think back to all of the historical struggles we've been through as a nation and how we've always come out the other side. I think about the suffragists. Does anybody know how long it took women to get the right to vote in America? Too long. Too long. It was 72 years from Seneca Falls to the ratification of the 19th Amendment. How much longer for black women in the South until the passage of the Civil Rights Act? An additional 45 years. And so the thing is, the people fighting for women's suffrage and civil rights, they didn't know what part of history they were in at that time. They just knew there was work to be done, and so they did it. And similarly, right now, we don't know what part of history we are in this moment. None of us know. But what we do know, the thing that's very clear, is that there is work to be done. And we do not have to wait 72 years. We do not have to wait 100 years to begin to see change in this state. We have an opportunity right here, right now, in this district, in Ohio, this year, to begin to make change. So I'm rolling up my sleeves. I hope that you will join me in the work. I want to thank you all for your time and attention tonight. And I'm Rose Lounsbury, and I look forward to representing you in the Ohio House.
From first-hand experience how hard it is to come after Rose. But before I have the next candidate come up, I did forget to mention, we have 2 petitions up back there. If you have not signed them, we have until July to get this done. You want to have your, yep, we have Peggy here, and she is going to, do you want to say anything really quick about it? Sure.
We came up with the Ohio Equal Rights Amendment and the Right to Marry Amendment as a result of Mr. DeRose splitting up our request to have an amendment. So we have 2 to sign. So if you sign one, please consider the other. The idea is we're going to expand what is included in the Equal Rights Amendment. There is an Equal Rights Amendment, or some language relating to it. However, it doesn't include sexual orientation. What a surprise. There's a lot of things that women do not get as a result of the Equal Rights Amendment that exists. So we want that corrected. It's also going to include veterans, disability status, health status. So there's a lot more than just women or just LGBT. Also, the right to marry is basically changing the language to say marriage licenses for any 2 individuals. And unfortunately, they're also saying 18 or over. So they're limiting the age for marriage. That's it.
And it make you work hard to get a change. And it isn't easy getting these petitions.
Right, so now we have to get, I think, what was it? 400,000 plus signatures.
From 44 counties.
From 44 times, yeah. So they've made it hard, but we can do it. We can.
We've done it before. Unfortunately, the last time we did not, but hopefully we will.
We're gonna do it. Awesome. Thank you. And thank you for being here. Because we needed, we needed someone to be here for that. The other, we have a nomination petition for Elizabeth Jones for the State Teachers Retirement Board. So our county is not being represented if we don't get her in, so we need more signatures for that. Is that correct? That we need to get these signatures. So I'm going to put these on the back table, and if anybody can sign this as well. And we have voter registration. Okay. Oh, yep.
They gotta be returned or passed.
I'm sorry, what was
They
that?
gotta be retired,
Oh, that, to sign it?
yeah.
Oh, okay, so you have to, so it's not just everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, so if you're a retired teacher. I'm sorry. I did not hear. Okay. Oh, we get one. Yay. All right. Please. Okay, and let's go to our next candidate. And that is, hang on 1 second. Mr. Stevens, come on up.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thanks for everyone for coming tonight. Like Lynn said, we're trying to grow the club, and this is really good to see the house full, so we appreciate that. So I'm in a little bit of a different situation than Rose. I have to make it through a primary. So what I'm going to try to do tonight is present why I believe you should vote for me versus my opponent, who's here, Mr. NEAL. We don't know each other, but we just met. And like I said, I'm going to make the best case for myself. And so this is it. First of all, my wife's here, Diane, raise your hand. We've been, I make her come everywhere. So we've been married 43 years. We have 3 adult children. We have 6 grandchildren. We both live a matter of a mile or 2 from where we were raised. We both were, we live up in Clayton. She grew up in Union. I grew up literally around the corner from where we live now. We've lived in the Northmont district. Went to school there, graduated from there in Harrison Township. And we lived down there, Main and Seaventhal area, and when our kids got into school, we decided to move back up to the Northmont area. So we've been up there since. I am retired from the Dayton Daily News, Cox Media Group. I was the circulation director on the newspaper side. I think we all know what happened to the newspaper circulation business. So we knew about 5 years in advance that our jobs were going away and the business was radically changing. So, I had made plans for that. I was fortunate enough to get a retirement from there and became a realtor. And I'm still a realtor today, along with Diane. We work as a team. I also, on January 23rd this year, I quit my job at Caterpillar. I went there for the money, but worked there for 8 years and decided that if I'm going to run for this office, I need to commit to the office and not that. So I quit my job. Hopefully I can make the office work. I have an associate's degree from St. Clair in marketing management, a bachelor's degree in political science from Wright State, and an MBA from Wright State in marketing. And the interesting thing about that, which I think is a good story, is those 3 degrees were earned in 3 different decades. So I graduated from St. Clair when I was in my 20s, in my 30s, Wright State, and then again in my 40s from Wright State. And why I think that's important is because even then, and throughout my life, I've been a long-time learner, lifetime learner. and I still do that. I just finished a 30-hour course a couple of days ago for my real estate license. So I enjoy that kind of thing. And I think that's the kind of representative that I want in Columbus. I've had a lot of leadership positions over the course of my life. It started, when my kids were young. I was the coach. I was the dad who was the coach of everything. I was on the boards of everything. All of it up there in the Clayton area, Inglewood Little League, Northmont Wrestling, things like that. At the Dayton Daily News, I became a director of the company. Climbed up from the bottom to the top, basically. I was also the president of the OCMA. When I was with a newspaper, that's the Ohio Circulation Managers Association. It's a statewide trade organization. Probably one of the best and most proud things I've done is on December 31st, 2025, just a month, 6 weeks ago, I turned out of my position with the Montgomery County Convention Facilities Authority, the convention center downtown, where I was the chair. I spent 5 years on that board, 3 years as the vice chair, 2 years as the chair. And if you don't know anything about the convention center, you need to go down there. We completed a $45 million renovation, and it's better than new. It's just really fantastic. Everything's upgraded. We took a lot of it down to the studs. And there's a lot of business coming down there right now. It's not in the black yet, but we're hoping that we can still do that. There's a couple outlying issues that are still there. And also, you may have seen this, we've been working on this for about 2 years. I say we, I should say they now since I'm not down there, but we've worked on this for about 2 years, actually purchasing the Fidelity building downtown. And it will, it's not a done deal yet, but it's getting very close. And that'll be additional hotel rooms directly to help the convention center. So it's been a big deal. I was really proud of that. And then the other thing I'm really proud of, on December 31st this year, I also, I didn't run again, but for the previous 11 years, I've been involved with the Clayton city government. I spent about 1.5 years on the planning commission, about 1.5 years or so on the council, and then 2 years as the mayor up in Clayton. And I'm proud to say we have some Clayton residents here, including Tim, who's still on the council, and serve proudly with him. And Misty's on the council now, yes. Yeah, and but to me, they can speak up, but to me, it's better now than it was when I came on, and it's it's probably better than it's ever been, I think. But I'm also quick to say that it was a team effort. That wasn't me, that was us, and I think I'm really proud of what we did up there. So a couple of things I want to say that they're important to me as far as running for this office, and they kind of go around what Rose said also. And the truth is that my 5 things here, they're not so original because they kind of mirror the Democrat ideology.
Thank God.
Yeah, well, again, that's why I'm a Democrat. So again, probably the first thing for me is the public schools. Like I said, we raised our kids in public schools. To me, the public schools are the piece of the fabric of our whole community and whole country that's really broke down. You don't go to school with your neighbors anymore. You don't ride the bus with them. Now you're driving across town, or you're going to some company school somewhere. And I think that will always be my focus. I'm very supportive of Northmont schools. My daughter's a teacher there. My sister-in-law is the union president there. So we strongly support them. We just signed up for 4 volunteer days today for a kindergarten program that they're having up there. We volunteer with the schools. I've worked up there with the Education Foundation, just the whole thing. I graduated from there in 1977, and we've been involved ever since. I really hate the voucher system. I think that's been a failure for all of us. I have no problem if someone wants to send their child to a public school or a parochial school. I'm Catholic, so you want to go to a Catholic school, that's fine. I have no issue with that. But I believe that you should pay your own way. I don't like the voucher system at all. I also think that the public schools, we need to make sure that the teachers, especially the teachers, because administrators, I think it's arguable, but we need fair pay. These people have advanced degrees, and they're working their butts off. They're working at home. They're working, in the summer. It's not vacation time for most of these folks. So I think we need to make sure that they have fair pay and also the tools that they need to do the job. And a lot of that, a lot of the issue comes back to the funding, which is, it's just messed up in Ohio. Other states do it differently. And as I saw in an article just recently, actually, I think it was today, I think the real issue is it needs to be blown up and everything looked at, because it's not really about tweaking anything. So the funding will be important to me. The other things are things that I've learned through, especially being up in Clayton. I think we need to focus on our infrastructures. People talk about traffic, in your cities and things like this. Well, much of it is around the infrastructure itself. Some of the infrastructure is really old. We had a program up in Clayton, well, we still have it, where we worked on the curbs, gutters, things like that on a schedule, and we maintain them. And if you go up there and look, the roads and everything are in great shape. Yeah, we're coming out of winter, so there's some potholes, but for the most part, those are old streets up there, and we've been able to keep them good. We relied on the expertise of ODOT, that we redid some intersections and made them a lot safer. There's a development going in up there right now that is going to be able to place a traffic light, where we've been working to get this traffic light since I was a kid, 30, 40 years. And it's a state route, so you have to meet criteria, and we never met the criteria. And the criteria is there wasn't enough accidents. And it's just ridiculous. But so now we do have some, with this new development that we have going in up there, the developer has basically agreed to make that part of the development. So that's a good thing. It's up near the school. It's up near Northmont High School. My focus will always be on safety, because I think that's all of our jobs as elected officials and citizens. We need to support our police and fire and make sure they have the right tools. And it's not just, out on the street, it's also at public events, because we're living in a crazy world. And you go to a parade and somebody, wants to drive through the crowd. And it's just crazy. So I think we need to stay on that. That'll always be a big push of mine, and also in our schools there too. The other thing is the economics of the state and of the district and of our cities and neighborhoods. We want jobs. We've got a lot of jobs have come into the Northwest, but they haven't been a lot of great jobs. And we've had the same thing over in Clayton. We've, over the past couple of years, we've opened about 4 or 5 new build businesses where they build business. They built the building, which is great and everything, but they're retail, fast food, that kind of thing. Gas stations, you know, they're just not, they're not high-paying jobs. So we need to work with likely our county to get some good high-paying jobs up here. Up in Vandalia, you know, they've gone through a big expansion up there with all those warehouses. That's great, except unfortunately the jobs don't pay that much, you know. So, and I think we need to stay on the accountability of our elected officials. Again, I go back to what we had in Clayton for the past, well, the entire time I was there, 11 years, and I think maybe before that. You know, we always have had, we've been very transparent, we're on Ohio Open Checkbook, and we've received the highest honor, the highest award from the Auditor of State every year. So again, I think that's something, that's just a no-brainer for me. If we don't have that, then we need to definitely fix that. The last thing that I'll say, and this is, these are kind of like other things that are important. Those would be my pillars, but I also want to say that I do support labor. I've been a union member twice in my life. I worked for the telephone company, and I was in the CWA, and I worked for, when I went to work for Cox Media Group, I was in the Teamsters 957. Those were only a couple years, but those taught me the value of that, of the labor in our country. And so I do support the Clayton and Englewood and Union firefighters up there. My son's a firefighter. He's a union member up there. And so that's just something that's important to me. Not every job is going to be a union job, I get that, but where we need them, we need them. And I'll always support that. I also, again, along the Democratic mantras here, anything to do with health care, with child care, you know, you talk about your children, you know, with my grandkids, all my kids are college graduates, and they all have good jobs. But you know what? They can't not afford child care. I mean, we're the child care, Diane and I. And it's not, you know, they're not bums, and it's not because they don't want to do it, they don't want to pay it. It's, you know, you almost can't work and pay for child care, and we have to figure that out.
Sorry.
Give me one more minute. Real estate taxes, that's a hot button. I think that's an issue. I don't have the whole answer for that. I just want to give you a couple things why I'm running. I did much soul searching before I made this decision. I didn't not run for mayor to run for this. I actually was done. I want to continue to serve. I feel like I'm right for the job. The timing's right. I have a strong network already made. I have the educational background. I have a voting record, which, yeah, I vote primaries and generals and all that stuff. But what I'm talking about is all this stuff that I've mentioned here. I have a voting record with the city of Clayton over 11 years. And you can go back and look at it. You know, if you think he's wishy-washy on so-and-so, generally on all these things, you can go back and find how I voted. I think I'm really consistent on that. The last thing, one last word. The real reason, after all that said and done, is I actually think I can win.
Amen.
And I believe that's, you know, I'm not a bragger type person, but I think I can win this. Thank you.
All right.
Sorry I went over time.
Yeah, you did go over, but that's, we forgive you. All right, our next candidate, DAQUAN NEAL, ready for 39?
Right, I got you. Yes, so my name is DAQUAN NEAL. I'm also running for District 39. So, you know, gonna have a nice, good Democratic primary. It's gonna be very healthy for our community to see 2 Democratic reps come out and represent you guys, have a very healthy primary. We want to show up. You know, this is healthy to see this in a red district. Before I really get into anything, I kind of want to just tell you a little bit about who I am. I've been at this for a while. Like I've been into politics for a while. I remember when I was about 10, going on 11 years old, I was watching on the TV and I saw this guy. He's underground. Like a lot of you guys may not have heard of him. You know, it goes by the name Barack Obama. You know, you don't know. You know, and I remember being at this tender age where I'm in school. I'm going to a rural school, leaving Madison County, and you know, I'm one of probably a handful of black students. And to see somebody carry themselves with class, with grace, with dignity, with respect, be so knowledgeable, articulate, and just carry himself in this way that seemed, you know, unthinkable to me. And he beat the odds, and he had the audacity to run for president. Like that was something that even me, I'm 10, 11 years old, and I understood that. I understood. I'm like, wow, look at him, look at this man do this. And I was so inspired that after school, this is me going into middle school, that I volunteered with the Fayette County Democratic Party to go start knocking doors in rural Ohio. And so I'm going through here in Madison County, Fayette County, and I'm knocking doors. And a thing that really sat with me while I was doing this was because I remember feeling so many mixed emotions. And one of them was like fear. There was a lot of fear because I don't know these people and I'm scared and I'm a kid. And so I'm up here like this high and I'm trying to talk to these people. But I'm in this community where I'm walking past these doors and these houses and they have Confederate flags in their windows and on their doors and on their porches. And I'm a little black boy. And I'm walking up to these doors with my Obama shirt on. And so it couldn't have been a worse look. And I'm still going up here to talk to these people. And I remember there was a house that was a couple minutes down the road from mine. And I passed this house every day on the way home from the school bus. And it had dolls, monkey dolls, in blue suits, effigies of Obama hanging from nooses in the tree in his front yard. And I passed it every day.
Did Donald Trump live there?
Probably his best friend. Maybe his next That's him right there, yeah. And so I all of these things were sitting with me as I'm going door to door, and I remember that feeling because I'm remembering those houses. I'm remembering, you know, that hate. Because even me as a 10-year-old, the very first day that I went to Madison Mills Elementary, I got called the N-word. The very first day that I entered the school, I didn't know anybody, but that was my first introduction into Madison County. Hello, welcome here, you know. And so these thoughts are running through my mind as I'm going to these doors, but what overpowered that was the hope. The hope that seeing him gave me. The hope that I could be something. Even though I'm surrounded by people who would love to see me be nothing, I watched this man go and hear all of these people count him out. Even some of my own family and friends was counting him out. And he did it. Again, the audacity. So I knew that I had to have this audacity as an 11-year-old little black boy walking through Madison County. So I walk up to this porch with this Confederate flag and knock on their door and ask them, do you want to vote for Barack Obama? Let me tell you why you should. And I just know that for me, that was something that carried me through a lot in life. Even when I was in adulthood and I found myself dropping out of college for the second time and you know, pushing boxes in Amazon, I'm wondering, what am I doing? Like, why am I here? Why am I, like, what is this life? And I'm reflecting to myself, like, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel normal. Maybe if I was making a little bit more money, maybe if I had a better job, maybe if I succeeded in school, I'd be doing better. And none of that mattered. All I knew was that hope, it never left me. That determination never left me. That will to say, as long as I'm willing to put in the effort, I can do something. No matter how little it is, I can do something. And that will and that determination gave me enough strength to go back to school. Went back to school, took me almost 10 years. But I graduated. Top of my class, honors, degrees, political science. I got them all, and I did it, and I found myself within half a year working within the Ohio State government, in both chambers. Worked with the Ohio Senate, worked with the Ohio House of Representatives. That will got me there. That will pushed me through those dark times. And I knew that I'm here. I'm around my reps. I get to see how everything's made. I get to see it. But one thing that sat with me, and this is something that I actually got to give credit to my mom back in the room, something that I felt that she spoke. Y'all aren't mad enough. You aren't mad enough about what's happening. And I recognize that it's a little different than what I want people to feel, but I want to be mad for them. Because I see what's going on in our communities and I get fired up. I get fired up because when I'm saying I don't want to see my neighbor be pushed around, be bullied, because we don't tolerate bullies. So why is it that we have leadership that is willing to kowtow to bullies? All I understood was that this is something that is not representative of me. It's not representative of my community. It's not representative of who we are as a whole. And it's not something that I'm willing to tolerate. So my thing that I run on, my pillar, is unapologetic progressivism. It's this idea that I am not afraid of you. I am not afraid of you calling me woke, because I think that every school child in this state should be able to eat breakfast and lunch on the state's dime, because we want them to get an education and we don't want them to not be able to eat because they're too hungry. That's not what we do in Ohio. That's not how we get things done. So they did it in Minnesota. Overwhelmingly popular. We know it. We know it can be done. It's the choices, it's the priorities. We aren't willing to do it. That is a problem. So when we look at our leadership and we reflect, why can't we do it? What excuse do you have as to why we don't have universal standardized health care in this state?
Read.
Why is it that I'm battling stage 3 kidney failure, but I'm worried about if I can go to the doctor because I can't afford it? These are things, my story is not unique. This isn't brand new. This isn't something that's just, oh, woe is me. No, I recognize that I have peers that I went to high school with who passed away because they couldn't afford their treatment for cancer. I recognize that these are people that I know. This is directly affecting me and people that I've seen. It touches their lives. The thing that I run on is about being a voice. It's about representing people. I recognize that I could talk about policy. Rose is better than me at that. She's real good at it. I actually love hearing her break down policy. I could just sit there watching all day like, yeah, that's right. Tell them what you know. But I think that what it is for me, is like, I could tell you about, making sure the wealthy pay their fair share. We just passed the flat tax rate. 96% of that benefits the wealthy. Y'all don't see that benefit. Nobody in this room sees that. We gave the Haslam family $500 million. That was y'all's money. And I had to sit in there, in the House of Representatives, alongside my colleagues and watch them advocate to give them that money for a new Brown stadium that they're not going to build.
Or we.
We know that's only about a fourth of what it's going to cost. So we passed a flat tax rate that cost us $1 billion, and 96% of it's going to the richest people in the state. It's a problem with our leadership. Rose, I thank you for that chart, because I couldn't have elucidated that point better myself. It is a representation of what it looks like when you have the same kind of leadership, but you question how did we get here? How did we get here to the point that we are just allowing our tax dollars to pay for private schools? That's something I don't even have to beat the dead horse no more. Like we got that one already. So I can tell you about all of these different policy positions I have. I'm what they call radical. I think that there should be a standardized livable wage.
Ooh.
Call me woke for thinking that diversity is our strength in this state.
Woo.
Amen.
Come on now.
So call me radical, because if you think that I'm going to allow a governor to allow ICE to come into our community in Springfield, and you think I'm not about to go see what's up with them. If you think I'm not going to the street to defend my Haitian neighbors,
Come on now.
you got me messed up.
Woo.
You got me messed up. This is my community. I got love for all of the people here. Whether you're on Riverside, whether you're in Inglewood, whether you're in Trotwood, this is a state representative position. So yes, it is District 39, but it's bigger than that. This is bigger than that. We see what is happening on a nationwide scale. On a nationwide scale, people are being terrorized across our communities. And the whole thing is that even if I can't do anything legislatively, if I can't pass a bill, I want to go yell at these people for you. At the very least, I want to go fuss at somebody for you because they're not mad enough. They're not mad enough at what is happening in our own communities. So my platform is, again, unapologetic progressivism. Don't call me for thinking that our school children should be protected and that we should have actual substantive gun reform so we don't have to worry about if our kids go to school and it's the last time we see them. That is a reality I can hardly fathom that that's the reality we live with. I'm terrified to be a parent. One, I can't afford it. Like that's just that. Two, I'm terrified of raising kids in this environment. Can I send them to school? I can't afford private school. Can I trust that they will be safe in this school? I don't know. But my thing is, I want to be a voice because I know what it's like. I know what it's like to have to pick and choose what bills you're gonna pay. I know what it's like to window shop on Zillow. Houses that you know you're never gonna be able to afford, because for my generation, at the very least, and the generation that follows me, I recognize that from what I hear, owning a home is a joke. It is an actual joke in every sense of the word. You own a home, man? Come on now. Come on, let's window shop on Zillow. They want $500,000. Look at that. They got 6 bedrooms. I know it's nice. That's our reality. I know what it's like to pay all your bills and then have to go donate plasma because you ain't got enough money to eat. It's life. I know what it's like to have to work 2 jobs and go to school because it's what we was told. We were told, play by the rules, check the boxes, do your job, do what you're supposed to do. I checked all the boxes and I'm hungry. I know what it's like, so I know how to represent the actual real people. I can't tell you about, being a representative who advocates for this specific policy and how to impact you, on a statewide level. But I can tell you that from my experience, working within this legislature, I have worked alongside far too many people who are your leaders who don't represent you. They either think that they're just supposed to be there. They think that they waited in line. They waited in line. So it's my time now. Hey, yeah, I did what you asked me to do. I saw that a lot. No, I'm not waiting in line. Our time is actually right now. So I'm seizing it because I know that I can be an actual real voice of substantive change. I can be a real voice of representative change. I can be a real actual voice to where people can see you advocating for them and they can feel it. They can feel that I am angry enough for you at what is happening, but not just angry. I'm hopeful that we can change our circumstances. I recognize that we can do 2 things at once. I can walk and chew gum. I recognize that this platform is not an election. It's not just one event. It's a movement that I am trying to start. I want to see more faces like mine. I want to connect with my peers and my colleagues, the youth who are terrified. They're terrified of what our future looks like. Who's going to speak up for them? I didn't hear it. I have to do this, not because I want to. This isn't something I just want to do. I would have loved to continue my education, go and get my PhD, and start teaching. I would love that. No, I am called to do something. I am summoned to do something, to stand for something. This is something that is so much bigger than just one person. I am called to do this. So I'm asking for your support, whatever it looks like. I always say, I hate the donation thing because I want to see your face. I want to hear your voice because I already feel your pain. I want to see you out here with me. If I'm out here on the streets, let's get to work. There's a lot of work to do, but I'm ready to get it. I'm ready to get into it. So I just want you guys to stand with me, shout with me, get loud with me, and let's get into some big trouble, y'all.
We'll get our picture on.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, thank you. One more, guys. And we have Mr. Tom Herner.
Hi guys, I'm Tom Herner. I'm running for State House in District 37. Unlike the last two, we're not in my district right now. Like Rose, mine is south of here. District 37 encompasses Centerville, Washington Township, West Carrollton, Moraine, Miami Township, and I think 4 Jefferson Township precincts. I'm a corporate internal auditor by trade. My background is in banking and legal technology entrepreneurship. I attended Wright State, where I studied entrepreneurship and computer science. I am running for State House. Sorry, this is the first time I'm doing it all from my mind, so.
This is the best place to
Good
do.
job.
I appreciate that.
Friend of the house.
Yes.
I'm going to go back to studied entrepreneurship at Wright State. Wright State, named after his brothers Wright, who gave us flight. In 1911, when asked what the secret to success was, Wilbur Wright said, pick out a good mother and father and begin your life in southwestern Ohio. And, no pun intended, I think Wilbur was right. My parents were both from Trotwood, which I believe is in District 39. My parents grew up Miller and Hoover, the intersection of that, Redmond Place. Growing up in Dayton, my dad often said, look around at how many of the things that make modern world operate came from right here. We invented airplanes, we invented cash registers. 100 years ago, or I guess 110 years ago, if you went to Europe and you said, I'm from Dayton, everybody would be like, whoa, you're from where things are happening, this is crazy. Last week, one of my mother's friends was in, wasn't Europe, London, and she said, I'm from Dayton, and the people there said, oh, is that near Springfield? Are they eating animals there? And clearly it's a different time today than it was 110 years ago. We have a reputation we need to refurbish. I understand what it means to do the work. When I went to college, I was studying entrepreneurship. My first startup company was named Barn Gang after Charles Kettering and Colonel Dees, who invented the car starter in Dees' barn. They were NCR executives during the day, and at night they were changing the world. That grew into Delco, I think. And so when I set out to do my first startup, I said, I'm going to use that name. I think that's great. When I did my first startup, I was working at the bank. I was going to school full-time, and I was trying to launch a startup. It was incredibly stressful. Probably one of the most stressful times of my life. This might be the second. So when I was stressed out, I said, okay, I need to go and talk to my most trusted advisor. I went to Dad. My father was a professor at Lake State. He taught economics. That was his passion. Education was highly valued in my family. My mother was the first person in her family to go to college. She went to Wright State. My entire family has attended Wright State. My father had 5 degrees there. He was enrolled there from the time he graduated high school until just before he retired, and then he immediately became a professor. He couldn't stay away for 6 months. So I was a little bit nervous going to Dad's office to say, Dad, I am really stressed out right now. I'm running a startup, I'm taking a full class load, and I'm working at the bank. Something has to give. And my dad looked at me and said, when you're 50, you're not going to be worried about graduating a semester late. So I immediately walked down to admissions and I dropped 2 classes. I went down, I think I only was doing 3 at that point for that semester. And I did graduate a semester late. And I haven't really thought about that ever in a negative context. I understand the hardships that Ohioans go through. I'm no stranger to tragedy. Shortly after I turned 21, my father died on Father's Day. It was also the day of my parents' 40th wedding anniversary and 3 days before his next birthday. And like many Ohioans, I was from a single income home, and that income was Dad. I was 21, I was in school, I was working, I was running a startup. I had to learn very quickly how to operate as an adult and how to operate without my most trusted advisors. I had to start moving around in the world with a lot less information and advice than I was used to. That's just a little bit about me to say I get what people are going through. I understand the hardships. I'm going to talk to you now about 4 pillars of my campaign. As a corporate internal auditor, I know where to look and find something's not right. If you turn that towards the State House, you're going to find a lot of stuff that's not right. Very busy. House Bill 6 was kind of like an activating moment for me. How many people here know what I'm talking about when I say that?
First Energy.
First Energy. In 2018, an energy company literally spent $61 million to buy the State House. They then passed a legislation that did $1.3 billion of good for an energy company and 0 good for Ohioans.
Still paying.
Still paying. I think we might have, didn't we reverse it last year?
I didn't really see a difference.
Yeah. Well, we will get to that part. That bill was passed in 2018. So far, the political masterminds have been imprisoned. One of them for 20 years. The other one got 5, and he's already out now. Those prison sentences were handed down in 2023, so 5 years after the fact. The law was still very much in effect at that time. Only 2 weeks ago did we actually start the criminal trial against the executives that paid those bribes.
Don't forget the 2 suicides.
Yes, there are 2 lobbyists who killed themselves in relation to this. Things are not right in our state government right now.
And one of the people involved is now our state senator.
One of them is our state senator. I thought he was going to be the one they would throw for governor, but we made enough noise about House Bill 6, they moved to the senator. None of that would have been possible without DeWine's administration. 100%, that was like their entire purpose. More recently, in the last state budget, $600 million, as DAQUAN mentioned, was handed to the Haslams. That's a billionaire family that owns the Browns. They're going to build a Browns stadium that nobody in Ohio has ownership of, but it will be our money that pays for it. That stadium, it's going to cost on average $200 to get a ticket to go there. That means that if you want to take a family of 5 to that stadium, after taxes, after fees, after all the extras, it's going to cost more than a 2-bedroom apartment in Centerville. That is awful. Not a lot of my constituents are going to end up going there. It's also not in this part of the state. Things like this are what our current state house does every day. It is a lawless place. And so ending public corruption is my number one campaign pillar. My second one is about cost of living. As Rose mentioned, we are very overlevied. We don't fund our schools, but we cause everybody that lives in the community to pay as much as possible in property taxes. We don't follow the Fair School Funding Plan. If we did that, we would fund our schools, I think less than 48%, I think that's the cap, it might be 42% comes from local and the rest comes from the state. Two school districts I think important to look at in my district. West Carrollton, if we were following the Fair School Funding Plan, the state would be giving them $12 million more than they are. By contrast, Centerville should have $1 million less if we were following the Fair School Funding Plan. Now, I would never say we should fund Centerville City Schools less, or any city schools less. I will say we need to fund West Carrollton City Schools more. The third pillar of my campaign is access to quality public education. As Rose said again, we did $2.6 billion that went to vouchers, the Ed Choice expansion. I've only gone to public schools in my entire life. How many of you guys have only gone to public schools in your entire life? Almost all of us. None of us, none of our kids, none of our siblings are benefiting from that Ed Choice program. It's not income limited. It's not reflective of Ohio. The fourth pillar for my campaign is reproductive rights. My parents went to Wright State together. Well, they went to Trotwood together, then they went to Wright State together. They got married right out of Wright State. It took them 13 years to have kids. I am only here because of in vitro fertilization. I recognize that we have passed that into the Constitution. We've passed reproductive rights as a section of the Constitution of the state of Ohio. That doesn't stop our current legislators from trying to tear that down. My campaign, my candidacy, my office will always defend reproductive rights in Ohio. I have to pick one of three endings now.
Just really mentioned.
Sounds like a video game.
In Dayton, when we see a problem, we just go solve it. We don't wait around for somebody else to do it. When Henry Leland, I think, was the CEO of Cadillac, when his friend broke his jaw from starting a car, Charles Kettering electrified the car starter. In Dayton, when we see a problem, we solve it. So I'm not waiting for anybody else to solve it. I'm going to solve it. I'm running right now.
That's right.
I'm asking that you guys stand with me. My campaign manager has 3 times this week said, hey, have you done call time? Have you asked for donations? I haven't. Probably will get to it tomorrow, but I want to use this time to ask if any of you want to donate to a campaign that has a shot of flipping the State House, please donate to my campaign. District 37 is a pretty red district, but not as red as it seems. So I'm asking you guys to stand with me. I'm asking you to hire Herner for your house, for your State House. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. We have 4 good candidates. I'm so glad that we got my start, and it keeps rolling. So I'm so excited for everybody. We do have some other candidates here, but I would ask that you guys come back and we'll give you appropriate time. Don't give you the eye roll, Mr. Esrati. But we will have, if that's okay, we're going to have candidates probably for the rest of the year coming to talk with us. Because we want to stay as informed as possible. They all need our help. You know, some of you guys aren't going to be in this district, but we know people, so we can get our friends out to help them. So it's exciting. We're gonna do this year. We can do this. Yeah, I really believe it. So, if anybody have any questions, we're at our time where we have to kind of wrap up, but if anybody has any questions, oh, let's go here first.
Are there any more retired teachers?
Retired teachers here?
If you want to know why it's just an issue, I will explain how it ties into why you're paying more and getting less. It's graft. It comes through STRS, retirement board, not the retirement board, but the people that are supposed to be investing for us, and they have non-disclosure clauses with junk funds that pay out to Republican candidates in office. Is that determined also?
This is a really complex issue, so I'd ask us to hold it for another meeting.
Okay. The issue of this.
CRS.
Okay, okay. So we can talk, we'll talk more in deep, because we went long this time, so we will, yep, we have to skedaddle. We're getting the word, the broom. Oh, go ahead, Dawn, you're gonna do the raffle.
Who else wants to buy a ticket? Anybody else? $5, I think we're sold out. And for your information, we have, I think we're up to 70. Watch me do math. Yeah, we're up to $70, so thank you all who bought tickets. And poor Rose didn't bring any cash with her, so I know she doesn't have any skin in the game here. So they're really all in front of her right now. Get your tickets out. There we go. Get your tickets, and Rose is gonna mix them out. And Rose, when you get them mixed enough,
They're really well mixed now.
pick one.
Okay.
I need one.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, put it back in.
Wait a minute. Oh, we're up to 75. That's very exciting.
That's a good number.
Don't you candidates.
I want to make sure my ticket gets in there.
All right.
There's in there.
We're gonna
Mix it all in.
again. All right. Let's see. Let's do this one. It's 2, 3, 1, 8, 4, 7, 2.
I think you only need to read the last three digits
Just the
at
last
most.
3 digits. 4, 7, 2.
I have 4.
No winners?
4, 7, 2.
Last call, pull something out.
No,
Okay, something
All right. Suspense builds.
No, I'm waiting for my.
Okay, the last 3 digits are 4, 6, 8.
Yes!
Your choice.
I don't drink.
Sangria or John Glenn?
John Glenn all the way.
And it comes with a Ronald Reagan postcard for bookmark.
I met John Glenn one time, and it was unbelievable. I helped move Annie Glenn up to him at the Air Force Museum, and when we got there, his eyes just lit up when he saw Annie.
It's beautiful.
It was the most beautiful thing to see this man just light up because his wife of, at that point, 60 years was there. So
Do we run
One more ticket. Hopefully this will be it. And this is for the wine.
last 3 digits is 475.
475. Woo-hoo.
There you go.
There you go.
You're not just that one.
Thank you very much. Thank you all very much. And
Thank you, everyone. Oh, we need a motion.
I'll put it up on you.